When the aliens came down to Earth, they immediately understood everything. How motors worked, how matter grew and eroded, the death of the veranda. The only thing that puzzled them that day and night was, why is their laugh tracks on TV? It didn't compute. It made their gadgets go gaga. It's hard to explain a laugh track to an alien. It's so true it should be a cliche. But I digress, which is something an alien never does. The only other thing the aliens didn't understand is, why are there so many lonely people? Why didn't they simply pair up, merely get together? The aliens said they could understand one lonely person, like at a dance, arms folded, toe-tapping, wanting to dance but staring bravely at the rest, saying, "Oh, I'm fine. You guys go have weddings and birthdays and warm backs to cuddle. I'm okay standing alone." The aliens said they could understand one lonely human, but not an army of soups for one in the grocery checkout, not an army of ones renting passion fish or some other dull piece of shit every Friday night in the video store, those sleeping alone in a 10-year-old shirt, an army of ones brushing their hair for no one, the candleless birthdays, those trying to keep practiced in love with a bird or a dog, or simply by remembering. A million lights quietly shutting off. The aliens were almost deafened by the sound of the pages being turned in the books read by the lonely. The aliens were almost murdered by the thought of those waking up to just a clock radio. "Why don't they just get together?" asked the aliens. I didn't know how to explain it to them. "Don't tell anyone we were here," they said. Who do I have to tell? After they left, I solved the mystery. The laugh track is for me. The laugh track is for us. The laugh track is there to remind us that we are not alone.
Associated Rediffusion presents Daniel Fassen, who he talks about.
You might well ask, who was Daniel Fassen? I was. 30 years ago.
Is it wrong to be out of step? Dan Fassen goes out to challenge people who hold odd views about life. Are these people just cranks, or are they one step ahead of us?
And now to meet the witch, Dr. Gerald Gardner, who lives in a ruined mill among a collection of eerie relics of witchcraft.
Surely one reason for the secrecy today is because covens are an excuse.
But of course, most of it is just to have a little dinner and a dance.
Well, what do you dress in when you dance?
The traditional witch's costume.
Which is what?
The skin.
In the nude.
In the nude, yes, exactly.
Dr. Davis, why are you against nudism?
I should think I'm against nudism because it's rather than abnormal. I don't think it's harmful at all if it's kept under proper control and if it's done for the right reasons.
But you're suggesting that some of it's not done for the right reasons. That there's this abnormal...
I don't think it's wrong in any way, but unusual, and it could very easily lead to irregularity and perhaps misunderstanding.
Well, what sort of irregularity?
It would attract the attention of peeping toms and people who are interested perhaps for the wrong reasons.
But surely that's the fault of the peeping toms and not the nudists.
But isn't there some reason why people who are interested in nudism are themselves odd in their ideas?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. I thought you believed that.
Yes, I do.
I was allowed a glorious range in my programs. As a contrast to Out of Step, which dealt with eccentrics, I followed with Keeping in Step, which showed that the establishment could be just.
Do you find that your relationship is as friendly as it used to be?
It is definitely not as friendly.
Can you instance some of the differences?
In the old days, 20 years ago, we
That's the
were...
most serious charge that is levelled against public schools, that they produce snobs, that they're the privilege of an exclusive class, that they perpetuate all that is worst in the...
Due to the set-up as a whole, and not to the public schools or any other schools in particular. If you think it is, then I think you've got the whole relationship between education and society.
Trouble that it would be the public schoolboy with his upper-class accent who would get the job.
Yes, I know a lot of people think that, and it's a difficult one to answer. I just don't think it's true.
I don't believe that as a country we're tourist-minded at all. In fact, I think most of us regard tourists as a nuisance. And I blame these advertisements for giving a completely false picture of England. One in particular, which deals with English cooking. This claims, now you can eat like a king in Britain. Delectable oysters, magnificent wildfowl, and opulent desserts await you in Britain's inns today. Now, is this really your experience? I have found that my meals, particularly outside London, usually start off not with delectable oysters, but with brown Windsor soup. Magnificent wildfowl would almost certainly be off, and instead there'll be a cut off the joint, a slice of cabbage, and boiled potatoes looking at one reproachfully with their dark brown eyes from a pool of water.
My notion of what the psychedelic experience is for is that we each must become like fishermen and go out onto the dark ocean of mind and let your nets down into that sea. And what you're after is not some behemoth that will tear through your nets, foul them, and drag you and your little boat, you know, into the abyss, nor are what we're looking for a bunch of sardines that can slip through your net and disappear. Ideas like, have you ever noticed that your little finger exactly fits your nostril, and stuff like that. What we are looking for are middle-sized ideas that are not so small that they're trivial and not so large that they're incomprehensible, but middle-sized ideas that we can wrestle into our boat and take back to the folks on shore and have fish dinner. And every one of us, when we go into the psychedelic state, this is a picture and contribute it to the building of the new paradigm, then we participate in the redemption of the human spirit. And that, after all, is what it's really all about.
She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes.
Her name cannot be spoken, her face was not forgotten. Her power is to open, her promise can never be broken.
She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes.
All seeds she deeply buries, she weaves the thread of seasons. her secret darkness carries. She loves beyond all reason.
She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes.
All sleeping seed she awakens, the rainbow is her token. Now winter's power is taken, in love all chains are broken.
She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes.
Everything lost is found again in a new form, in a new way. Everything hurt is healed again in a new time, in a new day.
She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes.
Bright as a flower and strong as a tree, with our love and with our rage, breaking our chains so we can be free, with our love and with our rage.
She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. We are changers. Everything we touch can change. We are changers. Everything we touch can change. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. Changes, touches, touches, changes. Changes, touches, touches, changes. We are changes, and everything we touch can change. We are changes, everything we touch can change.
Once there was a perfect town. Nobody ever broke the rules. Well, hardly ever. For on the farthest edge of the perfect town stood the last magic forest. In the very heart of the last magic forest lived the last wild witch. All day long she brewed herbs and leaves and berries in her big magic cauldron. And all night long she sang enchanting songs. Sometimes, when the wind was from the west, it would carry the fragrance of the magic brew or a few notes of the magic songs into the town. Sometimes, when the children were feeling low, they'd sniff the brew or hear a snatch of the song, and some of the wildness would get inside them. In the perfect town, there were rules for everything, and nobody ever misbehaved. Well, hardly ever. For when the wildness got inside them, the children ran and danced, laughing in the sunshine or jumping in the puddles when it rained. The grown-ups called a meeting. Something must be done. All this wildness upsetting things. Wildness comes from the witch in the woods. We must cut down all the trees and expose her hiding place. That night, Janie Green, Johnny Brown, and Billy Blue snuck out their open windows . They ran so fast the deer could hardly keep up with them. Past the rabbits and the nests of the birds and the streams where fish slept. Maybe we're supposed to do something, Janie Green cried. Maybe we're supposed to save the forest.
In May 1999, psychedelic explorer Terence McKenna was diagnosed with a brain tumour and given between 3 and 9 months to live. I contacted Terence by email and mentioned that I was making a documentary about shamans of the Amazon and asked if I could meet him and record an interview. Flying back home from the Amazon on December the 9th, 1990, just 4 months before he died, Terence gave me one of his last interviews at his home on the Big Island of Hawaii.
It's too bad we don't have one.
Knife surgery to try and remove the tumour.
You've been here for a while?
Oh, I finished the house about 2.5 years ago and was here about 2.5 years building it, so... Yeah.
Okay, so what about the combination of ayahuasca and the psychotria viridis? That seems to be a magic combination. How is it that the DMT is able to be absorbed in the stomach, whereas if you could just explain that relationship.
Well, it involves the interrelationship between a brain-mind system that has had all the monoamine oxidase taken out of it pharmacologically. And all these psychoactive drugs seem to have a bigger, more dramatic impact in the presence of a lowered MAO threshold. And how this was discovered by Amazonian Indians millennia ago and not discovered by Western science till 1956 or something is just one of those peculiar facts about ethnobotany and ethnomedicine. But it's certainly true that you have a much more dramatic effect with the two in combination. How many of these kinds of facts of folk science are out there to be discovered? We don't really know yet, but slowly it's all being unraveled. This discussion is by no means closed at this point. I thought I knew a lot about psychedelics before I encountered DMT, and it showed me that I knew virtually nothing. This is Salvia divinorum.
Oh yeah, this is a great shot.
Full flower.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you rarely see it so dramatically flowering.
This one.
Yeah.
Salvia divinorum, yeah.
And what
Little flowers.
what are the effects of these? What part do you use?
You use
The
the
leaf.
leaf, and it has a compound called alphas salvinorin in it, and it's very easily grown in the right soil.
Roll up 80 leaves and chew them.
Yeah.
And
You just chew it.
Chew it.
And what's
And
the
eat it,
effect?
and eat it as you're... That's
Oh,
how
yeah.
the Mazatecs do it.
Oh, mother. And what's the effect of it?
Very
Hallucinogenic,
strange,
psychedelic.
very hard to describe, but
Psychedelic.
not really understood or known until 10 years ago or so. You know?
See the salvia all through here.
And what's the legal status of that?
It's
It's
legal.
completely legal. Amazingly enough. Well, let's see. This is ayahuasca. That's why it was called Banisteriopsis, because the leaves are opposed to each other like the rungs of a ladder. And it winds up into this.
I've got some pieces back at the house.
Oh, yeah. Now here, this vine going up so high,
Oh, yeah.
that's ayahuasca. Showed you there were more rabbits in the field than you thought, right? Pageants and all these things, simply to reassure ourselves that in these ritual confined spaces, these energies can be held. A fellow patented ayahuasca. Somehow this happened. It's not supposed to be possible with plants. And then a group of several South American tribes. Well, then there you are. You think you've conquered scientific materialism, but here's a mushroom, here's a vine, here's a morning glory, and they all give you a message back.
Faced, death, whatever. I mean, has there been any revelations for you about your journey, about death, about where you're going?
You mean you're referring to the fact that I have...
Each time that you practice, each time that you return to this place and feel this energy,
I see by the newspapers here that craft arrogance
to see you in me. I'm in you and you're in me. Just to see you in me. I'm in you and you're in me. Everywhere I look, I see. I'm in you and you're in me. Your love looking back at me.
You are living the right direction, and there's a spirit bringing people together. Humble yourself in the sight of your sister. Ask him what he knows, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the sight of the children, you got to bend down low, humble yourself. In the sight of the children, we need to know what they know, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the sight of love. You got to bend down low. Humble yourself in the sight of Jah love, and let your love light show up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself. We shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher, we shall lift each other up. We're sending our love out to the four corners of the earth. Higher and higher. To the ones that need our strength right now. To our brothers and sisters in jail or in prison. Higher and higher. To the homeless and the hungry. To the lonely. We shall live. The mothers and the fathers struggling to feed the children. We want them to feel us right now. Remember, go where there's darkness and despair, and show that you care. We shall lift each other. Yeah, that's right. Come on. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other